I actually can't believe it. This is my third time making this video because twice I've had my mic off. The first one, the physical button was off. And the second time, my OBS decided, or I decided probably one time, that I've turned that microphone all the way down. Why did I do that? I don't know. But I'm now here to do this for a third time. And I mean, to be fair, it's a good video, so I don't mind. And now I get to perfect it, so I basically know this thing off by heart now. So welcome back to another video. Today I'm doing the XTC, my favourite song per album. So I mean, again, I don't want to go on the do all of it in the intro. I just want to get straight into it. So first up, for my music, I've got Radios in Motion. Why? I think it's a perfect opener. I think it almost shows off their eccentricness, their perfect songwriting, their geniusness, and how they execute. Although obviously later on Barry Andrews left after two albums, so maybe not in that department. But I do think it's the perfect opener, and I think the rest of white music it's really good. I like Crosswires. I like This Is Pop, but I don't know. Radios in Motion just stood out to me, so that's why I got that there. Yeah. So secondly, I've got for go to, I've got Are You Receiving Me? It's technically incorrect, mainly due to the fact that the reason that this may actually technically be incorrect, although it is because of the fact that in the UK, Are You Receiving Me was not released on Go To until the next reissue. It was actually released in US and Canada. But because of the how popular it was there, and then when they released the single, got popular there, and I don't think it actually made it to the charts, but still got quite popular to readjust myself. They decided just to put it on Go To, so I'm going to count that because it actually was on Go To, just not everywhere. It was an American and Canadian exclusive, so that's why I'm putting Irish Leave Me there. I think it's a great song. I think it's a lot more upbeat to the rest of them. I think I just, in my opinion, I do like Go To. I've actually listened to it now. I just think it's miles clear of all the other songs. I just think it's way more XTC like the rest of them. It has way more emotion. I'll say about a man being realizing that his wife or girlfriend or whatever doesn't actually care about him anymore. Are you receiving me? Is she actually still understanding him? Is she still actually there for him? Like yeah. So it's quite self-explanatory to be fair. But let's move on. So third, I've got drums and wires. No, not drums and wires. Sorry. For drums and wires, I've got making plans for Nigel. I mean, if you haven't heard of making plans for Nigel, then you have no chance of understanding what's actually going on in this, because I mean, loads of people that don't even know much about XCC know this. It's a brilliant drumming song. That's a great. I'm not going to be doing impression songs, but let's listen to it. So listen to the first 30 seconds. The drumming, like it's unlike anything that happened in that time. The drumming might be the best drumming in any song. To be fair, one of the maybe the best drumming, like maybe like top 20 drumming, whatever. I don't know what you call it. It's a classic, obviously. Clever songwriting and score references because apparently I think it was Builders. I think there might be someone called Nigel. I can't remember the exact reference, but I know that they asked Builders or something. They said, do you like your job?" Because people thought that they were being treated poorly. And I'm like, yeah, yeah, we like their job. I like their job. They don't want to lose their job. They didn't want the consequences of what would happen if they ratted them out to the news. So then they assumed that that was the case and just left it. And that is referenced by the if Nigel says he's happy, he must be happy, he must be happy. So yeah, that's what I'm referencing there. And that's what's being referenced, the lyric was referencing there. So I think it's just full of references like that. It's very obscure. You have to listen to it a few times to understand what's actually going on. I thought it was wild for a while. It's work actually. So for Black Sea, which before I get into this, I just want to say for Black Sea, let's just put it up. Black Sea travels in Nihilon. So I just want to say that I rated this quite low. I put this seventh if you didn't know. I think if I was doing it now, maybe I'd put that sixth or fifth. It's still somewhat low for it. But I think I was a bit harsh on it. I mean, it is one of their best albums. It's one of my favourites. That's why I put it there. So whilst Travels in Nihilon is very different to the rest of XTC's songs, both in that actual album as well as in general, the lyric and tones are used perfectly. It's very clearly what it's trying to get across. So it sounds like almost talking through like a mask or it's like a demon or whatever. And it's just a drum at the beginning. There's a, no, it was all going, I'm sorry. I was getting quite into this. It's just a great song that has the really loud drum at the beginning, just it's already introduced you to the violent sort of tone of what's going on. So that's all what's happening, and the lyrics are perfect. 7 minute song, but for a 7 minute song, it's very entertaining. I mean, I guess Stephen Wilson's Lumen was 13 minutes, but I mean, let's not get into that. Because I mean, I guess we'll do Stephen Wilson videos later on. Some say it's not as long as it could be. For XCC, it's very long. But yeah, so I think for how long it is, you can easily just sit there and listen to it. That's how perfect it is. And the aggression of it is just done perfectly, and the message gets across so well. That's what I think is like mankind or something. We're all just all useless, which I mean, to be fair, I mean, they're not wrong, are they? So, but yeah, before we start offending people, let's just move on. So, for English settlement, I've got senses working overtime. I got written quite fairly here. Everyone who listens to XCC says this is one of their best songs, but that's because and then that's because they're right. Which I mean, I agree with that. It is their best song. Obviously, I mean, obviously, you probably don't know this. It references Andy Partridge's HD's AED. I keep getting this wrong, and all three of the recordings got this wrong. ADHD. Like referencing an ADHD at the time, although it's called hypermotion, not hypermotion. That's the game thing, that FIFA thing, not hypermotion. Let's call it like hyperness and whatnot. They didn't really care. That's at the time they thought let's put them in Valium. Valium, is that what it's called? Yeah. So let's put him on medication. Then when he was doing, I think it was a Black Sea tour, his wife at the time in the hotel threw away his medication because she thought it was actually bad for him. He agreed with her. Little did they know, they were both so wrong. Oh, I'm not going to get into it because I don't want to get this video taken down. It didn't end, as I've written here, it didn't end very well in Paris. You can do, what's happening here? There you go. Yeah. It didn't end very well in Paris. You can do your own research. You can watch the video. It's a bit sad actually. And it all went wrong. And, and that's what stopped them from touring because he just couldn't deal with it. And it depicts perfectly when you're stressed out and have ADHD or autism, whatever, like how senses can be so amplifying to you. That looks a bit weird. Amplified to you, as in some of the lyrics. As everything's so overwhelming to him. And his senses are working overtime, as you can obviously see in the lyrics. I mean, I'm on my words. I keep highlighting it. You can't see my screen. Yeah, I'm using Google Docs all day. But yeah, that's what my script says. My script is correct. Let's move on. So for Mama, I've got Love on a Farm Boy's Wages. As you know, what's that? As you know, I don't rate Mama very highly. I'm not saying it's a bad album. I just don't think it's as good as other people think it is. But again, this whole video is opinionated. So who's right or wrong? Well, I've got Love on a Farm Boy's Wages on here because it's one of the sort of songs to me it just stands out. After that, probably Funk Pop. I mean, it has Beating of Hearts, Funk Pop a roll, but I think this one's just the best one. It's my opinion because I think it's one of those. It's a nice song. I mean, I'm not going to spoil the whole of This Is Pop, the documentary to you. You can watch that if you want, or find it on YouTube, or find it eventually. I don't know how you'll find it, to be honest. Because the copy we've got was from like 8 years ago. But yeah, anyway, let's move on. What was I going to say? Yeah, so it's a very nice song. Obviously, references something quite important to Andy Partridge. And whilst I've written here, whilst you'd think it'd be basic and very corny, a very corny love song, it's like, I can put, I mean, the reference makes it better, and the lyrics and execution, it just makes it very good. I mean, for something that you think would be very basic, it's probably one of their best songs, and it's in the fossil fuel singles, so clearly it has to be somewhat decent, and somewhat decent it definitely is. So moving on. Big Express. I mean, Manboy Senior, if you're watching this, shout out to you. Although you're probably watching this with me right now. You're gonna say either. I know, I've been able to predict it. You're gonna say in three, two, one. You're gonna say wake up, or you're gonna say train run low on soul coal. I've not got either of them on here. That was a bit of a cringe. Shout out to fair, my bad. I've bought myself a liar bird on here. I mean, most of you probably haven't heard this one before. I mean, I think Manboy Senior, I mean, he knows it. I mean, let's be honest, of course he knows it. But I've got Trainer and Low on Soul Cold second, and probably Wake Up third. The reason I bought myself a live version here is because I think the juxtaposition between the tone of the song and sort of what's actually being told about, as well as the end, where he's like, he's in a bar and he's drinking, is all done for him and whatnot, and that sort of thing. I just think the sweet, sort of nice, sort of tone to it juxtaposes heavily what the song's actually about, and I think that makes it even better because the way you can just juxtapose it that much, it's just perfect. And I mean, fun fact, not fun fact, but if you're doing English GCSE, you might want to use that phrase because you're going to get some marks for that. But yeah, so I just think that's why it's my favourite. It's a bit biased because when I first got into XTC, the first two albums I listened to were English Settlement and Big Express. So this one sort of stuck with me whilst I was discovering all of XTC. So I guess that one's a bit biased, but at the end of the day, this is all biased because this means nothing. I mean, you could have my least favourite as your favourite. No one's wrong or right. I might think you're wrong, but it doesn't mean you're wrong. So let's move on before we start getting political, if not political, whatever you call it. So for Skylarking, which is the beginning of their American recordings, I've got Another Satellite. It's very obscure, I'm not gonna lie. And I wouldn't even say this is my favourite combo of a song. My favourite combo is Ballet for a Rainy Day. My table's been so loud. I need to go away from it. Okay. It's Ballet for a Rainy Day to 1000 Umbrellas. And then after that, it's Summer's Cauldron to Grass. But those aren't songs. Those are combos. Those are transitions. I'm talking about a song. The song, my favourite, Another Satellite. I mean, being basic, I like the music. I like the sort of the bump, the boom, 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 boom in the background, that sort of thing. And I just think it's a very good song. Obviously, Another Satellite. It's all a metaphor. I mean, obviously, it's not taking place in space and whatnot, as the song, despite the song saying that, that's what metaphor is, obviously. But this is about, if you didn't know, when he was divorcing his wife at the time, or I would say ex-wife. Um, and still saying like he was just trying to cut her off. He doesn't want another satellite. Doesn't want another reason to be involved. He just wants to cut it all off. He doesn't need another satellite because no satellite connects us from our device to the internet to the satellite to the whatever we're connecting to. Which I mean, if you didn't know that, then fair enough. I guess that's more with satellite dishes. But yeah, so that's what it's all about. It's all a big metaphor, and I just think it's a great song. It's one of the dark horses. I guess can I call it a song a dark horse? I mean, it's more of like a person thing. Right. It's one of the hidden gems, that's what you call it, hidden gems of XTC. So that's why I've got that ranked there. So for oranges and lemons, I've got Mayor of Simpleton, which again you might have heard this one. It's between this, Hold Me My Daddy, don't make it weird for all the modern fans, and as well as Chalk Hills and Children, which is the closing song. I do feel this one has a slight edge over it, over the rest of them. I mean, if you didn't know, I mean, you can watch the extended video. This was what you call it? This was like an American sitcom intro, and you'd think it was a bit corny and whatnot, and a bit simple. I mean, hence the name. I guess it is a tiny bit simple, but that's the whole point of it. But I think what he's trying to say is a nice message. Not been listening to the song. I'm not going to spoil it all for you, am I? But I just think it's executed perfectly for what many bands would just make it a very basic song. The layering, we watched the video of like I think it's called Why Is This Song So Genius or something. And it's the layering of the response vocals, the bass and the guitar and the vocals and how he made it sound like it was auto-tuned. He wasn't. Because auto-tune wasn't around in 1989, was it? But that's a bit of a question, my bad. Sorry. But no, this is perfect. You'd think it's from like maybe a few years ago, maybe like 10 years ago. You'd expect it to be written nowadays, but it was written in 1989. So that sink in from it 36 years ago. That's why I think it's the best song on the album. I do really like Oranges and Lemons. I haven't got it with me right now, but I bet that's the only one I've got as a t-shirt. I mean, it's one of the goated ones, let's be honest. So yeah, let's move on to none such now. And thank God my microphone's actually still working. I've got Ballad of Peter Pumpkinhead. It's another single that's made it to the list. Obviously, the singles are being added here for a reason. They made as singles and put in fossil fuel if they weren't good. It's a very metaphorical song. I mean, what could it be referencing? Jesus? JFK? I mean, who knows? Listen to the song. I like a story. You find out how perfect he is. You find out the perfect things he's doing. You find out how the sort of things that how many people like him. You find out about the opposing government and whatnot. You find out what they tried to do to him. He's too perfect for people to believe it. Then it's kill him. It's I mean, maybe not so much the killing part. That's almost life in general, isn't it? I mean, people get jealous of someone, they just try and bring them down. So especially the last few lines, that makes you think a bit. That makes you shouldn't think about the first few times you listen to it. I just think it's a perfect song, and for a single, which you usually listen just to quite casually, it is very rich in content and very what's the word? I can't think of the word now on camera. It is very. It just has a lot of I've got the word now. I might have to put it on like a. I mean, this is the word. I'll put the word here. Yeah, that's why I like that. The that one. Like that one. Then for Apple Venus, I've got, I mean, this is where I'm going to go off script a bit because I disagree with this. I've got Green Man written here, but I mean that's wrong. It should be. I'm going to update it right now. I'm going to delete that. So you're going to see some live editing to edit it to stand my ground. I'm going to put I can't own her, which funnily enough, that's Owen, own her, which like that, which funnily enough is my favourite song of Apple Venus Volume 1. I can't own her. I like how like you read it and you think, oh, that's a bit misogynistic. Misogynistic, that's the word, yeah. But it's not. I mean, it's more about it's not him trying to own her and objectify the woman that he's obsessing about. Also, he's not a person, is he? Because he's not married, then, was he? No, but we're going off topic to that. Let's be fair. You notice if you watch my streams, but. So it's more of a nicer variant of what that could be. Instead of him actually being aggressive about it, he's just accepting he can't own her, and he says, and Andy Partridge says, it's a bitter pill. It's quite a sad song, to be fair. It's he's accepting what he can't have. He's admitted to what everyone else should be like. It's just he doesn't get his way, and he just accepts it. He doesn't like it. It hurts him on the inside. He has to get on with it. And finally, oh my god, my microphone's actually working, so exciting, you know. And finally, for Wasp Star, or Apple Venus Volume 2, I've got Church of Women, which is XTC's penultimate track. And unless you count the extra songs that are downloadable by purchasing Apple Box in 2005, 20 years ago, blimey. And like what I've written here, with ways to end your career. Can I just point out that when they were at Apple Venus, Dave Gregory left halfway through. They were in their 40s. They made one of the best albums potentially ever. And then for Wasp Star, there was just Andy Partridge and Colin Moulding. There were two of the original members, and it's their last one. And I'm like, what song this is? It's one of those. I mean, it ends, maybe it starts, but the song's like a church song and all the clapping and whatnot, and like just singing about it. It's like a church sort of sing along, which is obviously quite a good reference. I mean, it's in the name. You'd expect it to be like that. And I like how it can transition from this to the wheel and the maypole, which I mean, this might get a tiny bit controversial if you know XTC, because I've said that the wheel and the maypole is the perfect final song. Which I mean, I've spoken to them about it; they disagree, and I think I've come to the conclusion with this that it doesn't blend well with the wheel and the maypole. It's just the fact that it's so good it can almost go with anything. And I like the beginning how it's him just playing the guitar and just a few words, and then it'll just suddenly he does all the beat of it goes, "What?" And then it all just goes crazy, not crazy, but it just changes tone, and that's perfect. The lyrics are amazing. It's a bit like sort of Church of Women. He wants to worship at the Church of Women, I guess you could say. I mean, I guess that could be a bit of an innuendo, but it's also just about they're not like us men and whatnot. Men are not like sort of maybe stating the difference. Some of the songs again, you haven't. It's not like a big giveaway to what it's like. But it's just an amazing song, let's be honest. I mean, I say let's be honest, you don't know, do you? That's what I'm telling you. So, thank you very much for watching this. This is the third time recording. I can see my microphone moving. It's very satisfying. Make sure to follow for more, comment if you agree or not. Make sure to like if you liked this video, obviously. And make sure to follow my Twitch for more content. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye.